What is shaggin'? We're going to get right to it today. It is tourney week, so it's time to talk to one of my favorites. Got to have him. They're in the tourney again. The head coach of the St. Mary's Gales, Coach Randy Bennett, my guy. Coach, what's going on?
Oh, a lot right now, but it's great to be on. I love this. I haven't really seen this show yet. This is great.
Well, hey, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, look at you get the nice recliners there.
Our little video
there.
room. It's nice.
Yeah,
Nice to do this. No distractions.
I like that. I was gonna text you before we talked to Tommy Lloyd earlier, and he actually went and changed. I had a different shirt on. He goes, "I'm gonna get my Beastie Boys shirt and put it on." Do you have a concert T-shirt in your closet?
No, well, no, I don't.
What's the last concert T-shirt you owned?
A shirt available now. It's great for Marciulionis and Paulus. Respect
What's the last
to
concert T-shirt you
national
owned?
team that did their thing. The other dream team.
It's like Bill Walton. The
yeah.
Remember he had for the Lithuania team. He had the tie-dye shirts on.
Yeah, that's ours. Grateful Dead.
Yep, absolutely. What was the last concert you went to?
Oh shoot, way back.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
I actually went to a Osmond concert back in the day.
Oh,
can you believe that?
What? Oh no, I did not think you were going to say
that. Was like my first one ever.
So are you a little bit country or a little bit rock?
The day had to be pretty attractive to me for me to make that one.
Holy cow! I can imagine what the tickets on the secondary market went for that show.
Mesa, Arizona, it was pretty big. Mormontown, Osmonds were pretty popular.
There you go. So would you say you're a little bit country or a little bit rock and roll?
Country.
A little bit country. The country's going back into vogue now. Hell, everybody's doing country.
That's where I've gone to. It's good.
No, it's incredible. So talk about this season, because it's been a great season. I mean, you've had so many there, and I've said this before, that you have built just a tremendous program there at St. Mary's. It's not about the players, although it's always about the players, but you move from year to year, and the team just fights, they compete, they defend, and they make the NCAA tournament more times than not. Talk about this journey and getting from the beginning of the season to where you are now. Obviously, you had Sharunas' son, Marciulionis, who was a reigning player of the year, and then Saxon, the big man in the middle. But you had a couple transfers, so there were a couple holes to fill. Talk about that journey a little bit.
Yeah, so it was pretty drama-free this year. Like year before we started out 3-5 and had to overcome all that. We were sitting on a good team, but it just took us a little while. But this year, the leadership from our three seniors has been incredible, as good as any three seniors we've had, and they're just really steady, hard work. All the stuff that coaches try and preach and build in their programs, they are that. They're hardworking. Yeah. They're unselfish. They're consistent people, and they bring it every day, and they become really good leaders. So we started out like 7-0. We'd lose a game, and then we'd win another 7 or 8, something like that. And then we hit league, and what we did in league was pretty impressive. But it goes back to those seniors, and the foundation had been laid. And in this this era of college basketball, it's hard to get that. But we returned 9 guys, and so our foundation was laid. And so the new guys, we could absorb the new guys, and Paulus and Ashton with the 2 transfers. But we had some freshmen, some of them who but Mikey Lewis had to play key minutes for us. And so those guys could just kind of play because the leadership piece was taken care of, and hey, this is how we do things here. We're going to help you out. and were able to become good players for us. And as they fit in, we became a better and better team. And so I don't know if I'll enjoy a team more than this team. And this team will go down as one of our best teams, depending on how we finish in this tournament.
Yeah.
But we're a special group.
One loss in league. You beat Gonzaga twice. The only loss was a 1-point loss to USF at their place. And if I remember correctly, I think you had a lead late in that game, and they put on a hell of a fight to get back in, take the lead, and win by 1. But I mean, when you think about that, because when I was a senior at Arizona, we were 17-1 in league. We got beat by Stanford, and it's funny because I still hate all those guys to the core. Hate them all.
Isn't that funny how you remember that one? You can't remember all the wins.
We all do.
You remember that one loss.
We all do. I've talked to so many people, Coach, about this, is that for whatever reason, athletes and maybe coaches are the same way, that when we win, we expect to win because we put in the work and we just feel like that's the way it should work itself out. But when we lose, we hang on to those a lot more than we enjoy the wins. And I'm not sure it's completely healthy, but that's just the way it is. You win, you keep moving. You lose. You could ask me, please don't. But you could ask me about details of the Oklahoma game in '88 in the Final Four, and I could absolutely remember all those details much more clearly than beating North Carolina to get to the Final Four. I don't know why.
It's crazy. I can tell you all 4 of my losses in my senior year in high school. I can't tell you about any of the wins. We're sick.
Talk about what Marciulionis has meant to this team, because he's not like the biggest scorer, but he can score when you need him to score. But he controls the tempo, the leadership. You can see it out on the court. I mean, to watch him play is just to watch a guy who's fully in control, kind of in the game and who he is and what he does. But talk about that leadership and what he brings to this team and how steady he is, and guys can rely on that.
Yeah, the best part of Augustus is he's consistently improved. Like, obviously from his freshman year, he was unplayable at times his freshman year. And then sophomore year, he came on the second half and he started becoming a good player. And then his junior year, he had an unbelievable jump and became player of the year in our league.
Yeah.
But we've never had a guy go back to back. I told him, I said, it's never happened at St. Mary's. And he did it. We had to win. He needed his teammates for that to happen, for sure. But he has continuously improved through this year. It's hard to make that jump from player of the year to being a better player the next year. And he did, and he's considerably better. And as the season's gone, he's just gained more and more confidence as far as being a leader, being a scorer. I think he's really improved as a scorer, but his percentages are up. He takes better shots. And I guess what makes him really good is he really competes. Like, he plays hard. He's coming at you. He's trying to steal the ball from you. He'll be physical. And that was a little bit inconsistent earlier. Well, for sure, early in his career, but he's just a really good competitor and fighter. And as he's been able to do that, his game's improved because he's on the court like every minute. But he is, I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. I think some of it too, he's from Lithuania. He had to get used to living in this country and adjusting and being away from all of his friends and family and all that. So he's gotten more comfortable with that. But he's a really good player. He's one of our best guards we've ever had.
How tough is it to go through you're 17-1. You win the league. Like I say, you beat Gonzaga twice. At that point, because I know there were times heading into the WCC tournament, you felt like, hey, we need to win this thing, or we might not make it to the tournament. And I still think you wear those battle scars to a certain extent. Like, I'm not taking anything for granted. I got to win this thing. Unfortunately, you didn't beat Gonzaga, but you did beat them 2 out of 3. It's an uncharacteristic game for you guys. A little sloppy. They got out in transition a couple times. But what are you feeling going into that tourney? The same as you always felt? Did you feel pretty good if you get to the final, you'll be okay? Or do you even worry about that stuff? It's like, hey, let's just go win the tournament. Everything else will take care of itself.
You try not to worry about it because you want to just focus on what matters, and that's playing well in the next game. But it's in there. I mean, coaches they get in some dark places during season.
Yeah.
Going into this conference tournament, I thought we were in good shape, but you never know. I've been on a team that won 30 games, or coached a team that won 30
Yep.
games, and a team that won 29 games that didn't make it. So I do have those scars still. Um, but I thought we were in good shape. Then when we had to play Pepperdine instead of Santa Clara, then it popped up again. I was like, shoot, we can't lose these guys because that'll hurt our net.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad loss. And we didn't have any bad losses, but we were able to take care of that. So we went into it as we did last year, pretty confident that we're going to be playing the next weekend, regardless of what we did. And then we played well against Pepperdine, and then Gonzaga beat us in a kind of an ugly game.
I think we talked about this maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, that the hope would be St. Mary's would turn into Gonzaga in this sense that you could schedule and not have to worry about teams looking at you going, well, I don't want to schedule you guys because you guys could actually beat us and we're not going to get credit for that. Is that turning the corner a little bit where teams are looking at St. Mary's and the success that you've had recently and say, you know what? We don't mind playing St. We can go to St. We may not go in their gym. Hell, you'd be crazy to want to go play in your gym, but we'll play them in a neutral site game. Yeah, because if we lose to them or if we win, that could be a quad 1 win for us and we could play them and it's not going to hurt us at all. Have you noticed that corner being turned at all recently?
Definitely. I think we're all doing the same thing, especially since these conferences they play more conference games, so it's hard. It's really hard to get one of those games now. So you got to figure out how to get them. But and we're not the only ones. Like the other teams have to do that too. Where are we going to get quad 1 games? And we're one of those. Like we're quad 1 game for sure on the road every year. I mean, we have been for a while now. So I think people see it as it's not an everything to lose situation. There's a lot to gain there. Just even if you lose the game, it's a quad 1 game, and you need to have a certain amount of those. If we end up playing against Mountain West because they're in the same situation we are, and they're trying to get these quad 1 games. Where do you get them? Well, there's separate. There's St. Mary's. There's Gonzaga. There's maybe a USF, a Santa Clara over in the WCC. Let's go play them. And we're doing the same thing. And we played Utah State came to our place this year and beat us. That's our only loss at home. And they end up being really good, and they're really good in that game. So yeah, we definitely have that. It's enabled us to get in. Like we're supposed to be in Atlantis next year. We got the Maui coming up. It's hard to get in those tournaments because other teams they want to play against the really good teams. So you have to be a certain level of a program to get in them, and we have passed that threshold. So it's helped us, and it's helped us go to it's been a big factor in us being able to get to the NCAA tournament on a consistent basis.
So you take on the Vanderbilt Commodores this Friday. Do you know who Vanderbilt University was named after?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, you can't just
Mr.
say
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Mr. Vanderbilt.
Great answer, though. Great answer. Cornelius Vanderbilt. I was listening to a pod, and that popped up, and he made his money in the railroad. So there you go. If anybody asks you, boom, Cornelius Vanderbilt Railroad, and you don't have to say it, but mentally you can go. Thank you, Tom. That was nice.
I will. Now I know. I wouldn't have gotten his first name. I did know it was Vanderbilt, though.
Have you dug into the? I know it's Monday, and well, let me ask you before I get into the scouting and what you think of Vanderbilt, if you've even seen him play yet. But you've had him both ways now, Thursday, Friday. Friday, you get a little more time to prepare, but you got to sit around another day, and guys get a little antsy because they want to play. Thursday, lesser time, but you're in it. So, would you rather Thursday, Friday? Does it matter? What are the pros and cons?
I like Friday. It's such a rush from when they shoot that gun on the selection Sunday, bang, the race is on, and it feels like a mad scramble. So having that extra day, and we're gonna have to fly on Wednesday. It's pretty much all you can do that day. That's got to be your rest day. So it gives you a little time to have practice with your team. Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday. You got Thursday to get ready and play Friday. So if it's Thursday, it's pretty quick. And the 24 hours, at least just for a program to not feel like they're so scrambled, is a big difference.
What do you know about Vandy?
Not a lot. I watched like one film on them, and I don't know a lot about them. We'll know their personnel a little bit now, but we'll figure that out.
What conference they're in, right?
Days. What?
You know what conference they're in, right?
Yes, that's all I was about to say that. That's all I need to know. Is 14 out of 16 made it. They've seen the smoke.
Does it feel? I mean, you guys can't sneak up on anymore. Those days are long gone. Where St. Mary's come to the tournament and people are like, "Who's St. Mary's? St. Mary's," and then you go out there and kick their ass. Like those days have been gone. You probably miss those days where you could like sneak out. Everybody knows St. Mary's now. You want those days where you could sneak up on somebody, don't you?
Those were the best. The good old days.
The good old days.
Sneak up on Southern Illinois back in the day.
Give me your thoughts. I know there's been talk of expansion to the tournament. I'm like, why? So if they were going to throw more mid-majors in there, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Better games early on in the tourney. I'd love that. But what they're going to do is they're going to give like 14 extra bids to the SEC and Big 12 and Big 10. I don't need that. That's not what makes the tourney, in my opinion, especially early on. Like 68's fine. Isn't this thing saturated enough? I don't think we need more. You're a coach. You may say, hey, let us all in. That way I can make it every year. But how do you look at it?
It's moving so fast. This is what I'd say. 68's enough if you're going to take the 68 best. But we're not doing that. And I get it. It's the excitement and it's tradition, and I love it too. But if you're only going 68, I don't think you can afford to take 20 teams that probably aren't in the top 80 or whatever it is. It might not be that bad, but 20 of the teams that aren't in the top 50. So one way or the other, if you're not going to do that, if you're going to have and put more teams in, so the other good conferences that aren't the Power Four, and the Power Four, so they have a chance to get teams in. You take the Power Four and the Big East out of it, and there's only 4 teams that got an at-large bid from any other conferences, and 3 are the Mountain West, and 1 is us out of the WC. So it's made it, and this is probably the last 5 years, it's made it really, really difficult to get in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And now with the NIL, you can feel that now. Like there's the top 50 teams, they're better than they were 5 years ago. Maybe not at the tippy top. Like those teams aren't as good as they used to be, but the 1 through 50, I mean, you're leaving out some really good teams now. That's my opinion. And I look at it all the time. I just know how difficult it is to get in there and then to not be in the playing game.
It's interesting. A buddy of mine brought up this point in the NIL era. He goes, the NIL now has really caused a backlog of players to where good players now coming out of high school are either going to Division II and transferring, JUCO and transferring, or going to a smaller school and thinking they're going to transfer immediately, like after the first year. And he said, what's happening now with the NIL, he goes, guys are staying longer because they're getting paid. Guys are able to stay longer because their JUCO year may not count. It's like they got another year. Like you get all these guys that used to be leaving college when they're 22, 23. Like, look, in my opinion, if you're 26, get the hell out. Okay, don't be Wooderson from Dazed and Confused. I go, don't be hanging around the college campus, unless you're BYU, of course. And you go for 3 years, you come back, whatever. I come back, got the kids and everything, and like, hey, let's go play some college hoops. But look, I don't want to be 20s, but you're getting more of those guys. How is that affecting recruiting and all that? Where these guys used to leave, and now they're staying, and it's like, well, what do we do with all these players?
Yeah, your buddy's right. It's just gotten so old, and you hit on a good point. These kids, they can get so much money in NIL that they're not even thinking about putting their name in.
Yep.
Why would you? You're gonna make more money unless you're a first round pick. You can make more money if you're really good in college, and so that's it. It's just gotten old, and so there's no spots for a high school kid. If you're not a really good high school kid, you're probably not getting an offer. And that's changed. So then what do? You got to go you're a Division 1 player, but you have to go play Division 2 or junior college, and it's just different. And it kind of stinks for high school kids. A lot of colleges, they figured this thing out. College coaches are, I don't know if they're smart, but they know how to hustle, and they'll figure out the system. And all these guys have gone to, wait a minute, these top teams are playing with 23, 24, and 25-year-olds. I'm not taking an 18-year-old. And by the time when he does get good, we'll lose him. And so, and that's what it is. So hopefully they'll put some rules in to change that, because I don't think that's healthy. But we'll see. We'll see that. But that is exactly where it's at now.
And aren't we hurting? I mean, look, and I'll bring up Aiden Mahaney as a case, but like I think, for those that don't know, he played for Indy last year at St. Mary's. Transferred, went to UConn, where I'm sure he got a better NIL deal, and that's great for the family, great for the kids in the short term. But I'm wondering how many players there are like that are like, okay, I got a chance to play here for more money, let's do it. But in the long term, maybe it doesn't serve their interest, and it's hard for them to see much past their college playing days. And I'm not saying, if you want to say, look, I'm going to make as much money as I can in college as possible, because I'm going to probably be, as the commercial says, professional in something else. God, I hate that commercial. But they realize I'm not the guy, and I'm just going to make it. But I don't know that it's not there to serve their interest in the long term. But I think it does hurt some of them, where you just keep bouncing around looking to better deal. And then all of a sudden the music stops and you're like, well, that's it. I didn't develop any skills. I'm not as good as I possibly could be. I just went for the short-term fix. So again, I don't know exactly what to do about it, Coach, other than maybe contracts. But I do think some of their long-term interests aren't served here.
I agree. You just got to decide if the money's the priority. If it's the priority, I get it. But I do. You meant we never talk about this anymore, but getting an education is still important. I mean,
yeah.
And that's just gotten totally lost. And then developing as a leader, and in a program, having the friendships you had when you were at University of Arizona. I mean, those are pretty special. I don't know what value you put on them, but they're pretty special. So is the leadership you develop by being in the same program year after year. If you just keep going, you're just starting over every year as far as that, if you keep moving. So there's a lot of those things. I think connections for the future. There's some stuff that's hard to put a price tag on. And I don't know. We just had these 3 seniors, and they've been awesome. And I can't imagine any seniors from other programs. There's some that are making a lot of money, which would make make them more money than our guys. But as far as an experience, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if he can top it. I
Well,
just
that's
know
all we take
personally,
with.
I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
would enjoy that. I was into the team. I was into winning. I was into, being a player, improving as a player development. I mean, keep the main thing the main thing. You got to get better.
Yeah.
You're not playing
Yeah.
any pro if you don't get better.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah,
I think,
that's where I
and
come
you
from.
put your money where your mouth is. I mean, I'm sure you've had chances to interview or go other places, and the program you built there, the quality of life there. And at some point, I think you look at it and go, look, how much more do I need? I got enough, and I'm happy, and I love doing what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, with who I'm doing it with. And I think sometimes, and not, this isn't just athletes, this is everybody probably on the globe, that you kind of have to factor that in. What's worth more to me? And I think what you just espoused is kind of obviously one of your core principles that has been important to you. It's like, look, I love it here. I love what I do here, and I love who I do it with. And I don't know if enough people actually look at it that way, but no, I think it's great when you say it, because obviously you've lived it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's not, you know the deal. How much do you need?
Well, now that I don't have a job, more.
You got a job whenever you want. I'll hire you in St. Mary's.
Can you imagine me? Holy smokes. On the sidelines
I'd
with
have to
you.
hire another person to corral you during practice.
Yeah, you might. Well, maybe during the game. The referees
This is
kill me
this
sometimes.
is Tolbert's assistant. You just watch him the whole day and make sure he stays in the gym.
You don't mind if I bring Bruce to practice, do you?
Nah, bring Bruce. We'll be good.
I love, I love it. Hey, best of luck against Vandy. You know, I'm always rooting for you. It's always fun watching you guys make the tournament. It makes it a lot more interesting for me. I'll say that. I got Arizona. I got St. Mary's. They're both going to be playing. You're going to be Saturday morning. I think they're Saturday afternoon. So best of luck. I hope you kick ass. And whether you get through or not, we'll definitely have you on again. But hopefully we'll be talking soon, and hopefully we'll be saying great job this weekend. But congrats, Randy, on a great season, and best of luck against the Commodores.
T, thanks. Thanks for giving me the history lesson on George Vanderbilt.
I'm there for you. I'm always there for you. Let's get together and grab that beer after the season.
All right,
Take it easy,
brother. I'll
Coach.
talk to you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man. I'll talk to you. You got it. He's the best. He really is. I've talked to him for 20 years now. I think Randy and I have talked, and I forget how we got hooked up with him. I think it was just one of those things. St. Mary wanted more, more attention, and how do we get more notoriety in the Bay and people to pay attention to us? So it was Ralph and I, and we're like, yeah, we'll have Randy on. We'll have Randy on. And then we just kept having him on, and kept having him on, and kept having him on. And we kind of progressed. They kind of progressed, and all of a sudden they were damn top 20 team year in and year out. So it's been awesome to watch the growth of that program. I mean, I go back to Kickert. That's way back when. And then Mills and Dellavedova and McConnell and Samhan. And I mean, all those guys. The program just keeps on rolling on. And Randy's the head of it. So he's done an amazing job. It's been a fun friendship. I'm actually going to be going and doing their banquet at the end of the year. I told him I'd go over there and do that, because I just love Randy. I couldn't recommend him higher. If there was a kid that asked me about him, I'd say you will get better and you will love playing there. So thank you to Randy Bennett for joining us this week. If you notice, I got my green on too. It says today I'm Irish. Actually, every day I'm Irish. I'm 25% minimum. My grandpa, full-blooded Kennedy. I think Kennedy's Irish. Kennedy's about as Irish as it gets. And then, as I've said before, my grandmother is 25 or 100% German. So I know I have quarter German, quarter Irish, and then whatever the hell my dad's side is. And I say it affectionately because I have no idea. Nobody has any idea. My dad didn't have any idea. What are you? It's like Danny Noonan. What are you, a diabetic? I was like, I don't know. So I don't know what I am, but 25% for sure on the sides. But I got to wear the Minnesota North Star Willie Plett hat. Got that going. Got the shirt. That's just slander too, by the way. Put beer on an Irish shirt like it's Irish. It's profiling, is what it is. Profiling. You're profiling the Irish. Don't do that. So we're going to have Jay Billis on this week. Hopefully, we're going to have Tommy Lloyd on this week, head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, as they get ready to take on the Akron Zips. They'll be on Friday. And then Randy Bennett, St. Mary's Gales will be taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Cornelius Vanderbilt Commodores. Yeah, I was, forget what podcast I was listening to and his name popped up. I go, oh, sounds like something I might have known, but I didn't know. But I found out. And, I thought if somebody asked Randy now, he's going to be like, Cornelius Vanderbilt. Are you kidding me? Guy was into railroad. $1 million. Boom. We're good to go. They'll be like, oh, man knows his Vandy history. Now, if he'd asked me who founded St. Mary's, I'd have said, I don't know, St. Mary's. I have no idea. St. Mary, was there a St. Mary's that founded St. Mary's? Or probably not. I wouldn't imagine. I could probably look that up. Those are the good, like, little details, like Wikipedia is good for. Just like the boom, hit me with the who founded this, what year was it founded, what happened here, how this. I don't want to get too far into the fact searching machine when you're going to Wikipedia, because there have been some times where it hasn't been quite right, because hell, you can just edit that whenever you want to. Like pop on and edit it. Well, if I knew what I was doing, I don't know what I'm doing, but in theory, you can do that. So we'll be talking tourney. I'll fill out a bracket maybe Wednesday. I don't copy me though. I'm just going to save you the problem. If you do, then you know what? I already told you. I gave the disclaimer. Do not follow my bracket. I have not seen many teams this year. Off the top of my head, I like Texas Tech. I like the way they play. Love Houston. I mean, obviously Duke is good. Florida, they're incredible. Like I might even pick them to win the national championship, but I really like Tech. I like Texas Tech this year. I think they're a solid team. So Bama is a team I'm not high on this year from what I've seen play. I don't know. There's just something about them. And again, this is just I've seen them 2-3 times maybe. I watched both games against Auburn. I might have watched a Kentucky game, but it's not like I've watched all these teams. I've watched St. Mary's this year, and I've watched Arizona this year. I know those teams fairly well. Other than that, I don't know anybody fairly well. I know them enough to say I've seen them play, and I kind of know some of their players, and I know how they play a little bit, but strengths and weaknesses and all that stuff, not really. But I'll do a bracket anyway, because that's a great thing about March Madness. Everybody does a bracket. They don't have to know shit all about basketball. They just do a bracket. They can do mascots, fill it out by mascots or colors or what part of the country they're from or just whatever. It doesn't matter, because everybody. I mean, that's the brackets is probably the biggest communal gambling event in America. I would have to say. I mean, that takes place in one specific time period. Like everybody does fantasy football now too, but it's over a season. This is like just one event, and it's like, okay, here we go. Everybody, here's your brackets. Everybody walks into work. You're gonna have brackets around this week. I had bracket. Well, I worked at a sports station, so of course I was gonna have brackets around. But you're gonna have brackets around. You just fill them out and try to have fun with it and try to win some of Warren Buffett's money. What did he give away? $1 billion one year if you got a perfect bracket? Like, come on. The odds of that are, I forget what they were. I think they were higher than trillions. It was like, which is when I would like to, like, if I had one chance to go back and get Gray's Almanac from Back to the Future 2, give me the year Warren Buffett was going to give away $1 billion for a perfect bracket, and I would just fill that thing out. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, it would ruin the tourney for you because you already know who's going to win, which kind of sucks. I like watching the tourney. $1 billion probably make up for it. I think $1 billion probably worth. I think I would take that trade off just for one tourney. That would be totally fine. So one of the things I was going to do this week, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this now that I've gone down this rabbit hole. So here's a bracket. If you can see it, it's a 16 team bracket. It's like one of those phony CBI tournament brackets, like college basketball invitational. You know, the auxiliary tournaments that they have at the end of the year, where it's like you're not good enough for the NCAA tournament, you're not good enough for the NIT. How about the CBI? Like, what? The CBI, College Basketball Invitational. And I want to say there was another one. I want to say there was 4 of them, which would mean like a third of the teams, college basketball teams, would go to a postseason tournament. Because I believe there's like 314, 320 Division I teams, something like that. So, like at that point, I mean, come on. Really? You want to go play in the CBI? No. I mean, look, I went to Arizona, of course. We weren't going to the CBI. We went to the NCAA tournament twice. Final Four once, lost to Oklahoma. Hate that memory. But I wouldn't want to play. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. Hey, look, teach their own. If you want to go to the CBI, get your CBI championship T-shirt, and you can wear it around campus. Whatever. I don't know. So this is a 16 team tournament, and what I was trying to do is, and I threatened to do this, and I'm trying to do it right now. A serial killer tournament, SKI as I call it, Serial Killer Invitational. And so it'll feature 16 possibly serial killers, and I'm trying to narrow it down right now. So if anybody wants, and by the way, this is a little scary. This is kind of just the research on the serial killers. What's scarier? My daughter did it. I'm locking my door just in case. My daughter loves. I think she wants to go to school to be like a profiler, like one of those FBI profiler type people, and because she loves a crime show, she's totally into it. Like I asked her to help me out with this last night. She was down. She was like writing this down. Blah blah blah. I got that. Got that. Got that. Got that. Got that. Like I'll just give you a little. Okay, this is Ted Bundy. So she wrote down the Ted Bundy thing. Lady Killer was his nickname. Kidnapped, raped, murdered dozens of young women and girls in the 70s. His MO typically consisted of faking a physical impairment. That was like my guy that went down the plane. Like that guy. I don't know if he tried to pull that one, the old Southwest the plane trip. Hey, help me. I'm gonna kill you. Typically consisted of faking physical impairment to convince his target he needed help. Lured him to the car, secluded area, bludgeoned until unconscious, then restrained with handcuffs before driving the victim to a remote location to be raped and killed. Pleasant, huh? Yeah, these did like now. That's the problem I had with this. Is like, oh my god, I got to do like 18 of these. I got to try. This is like, oh, it's dark. It was really dark. And the only reason I was thinking about doing this because I've been threatening to do it for like years and years and years. Like, I should just, who does a serial killer bracket? Nobody. Like, nobody. I should do one. And then I go, yeah, I'm going to do one. And then actually started doing it and go, this is probably the reason I didn't do it. Like, because once you start doing it, you're like, oh, God. Yeah, I mean, these people are awful, just absolutely awful. But when you actually start writing stuff down, and I was watching a show last night on Apple, Invisible Monsters, I think it was. Whew. I mean, you're just watching it going, holy cow. And you realize I've always, like, I make the joke. One of my favorite jokes is the 70s was the golden age of serial killers. But there's a reason for it, right? We used to hitchhike. People, well, not we. People used to hitchhike in the 70s. Like it was like no big deal. What are you going to do? I'm going to go hitchhike to Louisiana. All right, cool. Give me a call when you get there. And I never heard from Terry. I don't know. Took off like 2 weeks ago. Maybe she just stopped in Texas. I don't know. Maybe she's at the bottom of a ditch somewhere because she jumped in with Bundy. Like, now look, the odds are still pretty low, but still, Like we are a much more cautious society now than we were back then. I always joke about we used to go out when we were kids, play into the dark, come home. That was it. No cell phones, no mom checking in on you, no dad checking in on you. Just come home at dark. Be gone all day, come home at dark. They didn't think twice about you being outside the entire day. So the society today is much more cautious. So it's going to be harder to gain access to victims. CCTV. There's not all this TV everywhere. Cell phones everybody has. And then most importantly, DNA. Like there just wasn't DNA back then. So in the show I was watching, this guy, Dennis Rader, BTK, bind, torture, kill. I know, pleasant. I think it was one of his first murder scenes. One of the police officers walked in, grabbed a cup of water, went to the fridge, got some ice cubes, and left the ice tray out. And people like they looked at it later. They're like, "Oh, he must have had water. He must have." No, that was the police guy that had ice. And there was media in the house, in the house, just like lounging around. You know, it was like 3-4 people murdered, and there's the media just cruising around the house. Like, hey, Fred, good to see you. Yeah, you going to the party this weekend? Yeah, 6:00 hors d'oeuvres. That's fine, cool. But I mean, again, you don't hold that against them. And I've said this before: things that happened then don't happen now. But you can't rip people for doing what was acceptable back then. It just nobody thought twice of it. It just that's the way it was. It was like murder scenes, crime scenes were like mom and pop shop crime scenes. Like nowadays, it's like corporate, like it's tight. It's like, no, don't don't step there. Don't, nope. You don't want to contaminate anything. Back then, it was like contamination, schmamination. Like, what are you talking about? Are you gonna give me? Yeah, they have some nice Scott. Hey, Bill, we got like 3 people murdered, and then right over here. I know, but that's scotch. That's 33-year-old scotch. All right, take a belt. Then come on down here. And they said they would take pictures, like only 20. Say 20 pictures for a whole crime scene. You know the reason? Too expensive. The flash, too expensive. Developing them, too expensive. So, I mean, you don't want to get all the angles. Do you get a shot of the actual bullet? We ran out of film. Ran out of film? Yeah, ran out of film. All right, that's cool. Don't worry about it. We'll piece it together. So this is what that's my daughter. My daughter wrote this because, like I said, she's like fascinated. I'm fascinated by these people too, because I just don't know how your mind, like the synapses, misfire that badly to where this is the route you take. And again, it's very few people. Thank goodness, very very few, and seemingly fewer. So we're still on Bundy. Frequently revisited the bodies, grooming and performing sex acts on the corpses. Now, like you're starting to get a feel for like, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a 1 seed, right? If they put him in this thing, he definitely. Oh, there's only 16 people, so I can only have 1 seed. And there are some really, really. I mean, there's some people in here I hadn't even heard of that would make strong candidates. Decapitated at least 12 victims. Okay. And he kept their severed heads as memories. Again, you can't get any worse than these. You just can't do it. So again, what was a good idea, at least I thought was a good idea, it might be an interesting idea, is quickly I'm starting to think, you know what? This might not actually be as good an idea as I thought, because these are all horrible people. Like, how do I say this person moves on and that person loses? Like, they all should move on. They all should move on to hell, is where they should move on to. And it's amazing how some of these people get arrested. He was arrested for aggravated kidnapping and attempted criminal assault. Then, I remember this, became a suspect in some unsolved murders. I think this was in Colorado. Then he escaped, committed 3 more murders, then went to Florida and was recaptured and got the electric chair in '89. 20 confirmed, 30 confessed, 36 suspected. Now, can people actually tell me? I know I'm not going to get into the whole death penalty argument here, but you're upset this guy got the chair. Look, even Ted Bundy deserves to live. That'd be a tough case to make, wouldn't it? That'd be a tough one. You got your billboard outside the prison. Let Ted live. Let Ted live. Like, you got to have some stones to stand up for that one. Like, all these people should be, they all should have been. Like, BTK, dude's still alive, 80 years old in prison. Shouldn't be, but he is. But yeah, like, so the people that we came out with Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, that's Killer Clown. That's the dude that had hid people in a crawl space under his house. Zodiac Killer. People in the Bay Area obviously know the Zodiac. We don't know him. You don't know. Nobody knows him, but you know of him. Jack the Ripper, one of the first ones. Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Gary Ridgway, Green River Killer. Dennis Rader, BTK. Ed Kemper, Co-Ed Killer. The Golden State Killer, which I didn't know about until I saw a special on Amazon a couple years ago. Ellen Warnos. You heard of her? The Damsel of Death? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, we are big proponents of DEI here on the show. So we did have a woman, a Jew, a Mexican guy, and a brother on the list. So like, you can say we're insensitive, but like, I'm trying to be as inclusive as possible on this thing. Yeah, she was a prostitute that shot her Johns after she robbed them, or probably shot him and then robbed him, I would think. Samuel Little. This was the brother, convicted of 8, confessed in 93, and he was confirmed 60 between 70 and 05. Never heard of this guy. Samuel Little. No. Jesus. The nickname on this guy is just like too much when Haley told me. Come on. Okay, his nickname. Samuel Little. Choke and stroke. I mean, come on. Who came up with that? That's just. Yes, I'm covering my face right now. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not going to explain it to you. If you can't figure that one out, then that's on you. Robert Lee Yates, grocery bag killer. Never heard of him. Tommy Lynn Sells, Coast to Coast. Now, you should know this. Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono. Those were the Hillside Stranglers. West Coast, very prolific when it comes to serial killers. And then especially the Northwest. Northwest has some doozies. I mean, you get a couple of them that this one, David Berkowitz, Son of Sam, he's New York. Gacy was Chicago. BTK was Wichita, Kansas. But man, a lot of these were just West Coast. West Coast was wild back then. Not in a good way. Wild West. Harold Shipman, Dr. Death. This guy was in England. I tried to keep it to Americans because I could go all over the place with I mean, there's some like people that I'd never heard of. Harold Shipman, Dr. Death, 284 victims, 30 years. He might be the worst of all. He's a doctor. I mean, people trust you. And I mean, come on. Look, I'm no lawyer, but I'm gonna say he violated his Hippocratic oath. I'm pretty sure on that one. Where's the other one? I wrote down. Oh, this dude was like wild. I wrote him down here. I did a little myself. Joel Rifkin, Joel the Ripper. Ogden pointed that guy out to me. You want to know how he got caught? You hear coaches say things like, take care of the little things, take care of the details, right? And then the big things will take care of themselves. Joel Rifkin got caught because the car he was driving didn't have a license plate. And oh yeah, there was a body in the trunk. Like, bro, are you serious? You have a fucking body in your car. In your car. It's not like you have a joint or something, but like, look, if you have drugs or something illegal or whatever in your car, don't speed. Blinker works, brake lights work, headlights work, like everything works, and you drive the speed limit. Period. No exceptions. When you have a body in your car, you probably should have a license plate to go along with that car. Like, that's what I'm talking about. The details, the little things. The big thing you got away with, little thing you didn't get away with. And that's what ended you. Kind of a rip-off nickname, though, Joel the Ripper. Never heard of this guy, Richard Chase, vampire of Sacramento, because he liked to drink victims' blood. Okay. And apparently he drank like animals too, and that's where I draw the line, pal. Humans are one thing, not the animals. But this dude right here, Pedro Lopez, a monster of the Andes, said they linked him to 300 murders, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. He was convicted of 110 in Ecuador, confessed to 240 more. This guy was like the Wilt Chamberlain of murdering. I mean, this guy was getting it done, like in like efficient fashion. How about this though? How about this? So I can tell you where most of these guys are. They're dead, prison, dead, prison, dead, 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 dead. No one knows where Pedro Lopez is. No one knows where he is since 1988. You want to know why? Funny you should ask. I'm going to tell you why. He was paroled for good behavior. What? How good can your behavior be to absolve you of, let's just take the low number that he was convicted of, 110 murders? How could you possibly get out of prison at any point in your life, let alone less than 20 years? Less than 20 years. You know what? You've been really good. You've been good. Like we open the cell door, you come out, you stand at attention, you eat all your food, you clean up the yard, your cell's never a mess. I don't see why you can't be a productive member of society again. I think you've learned your lesson. So nobody knows where he is since 88. Could be alive, could be dead. He's in his 70s. Could be killing again, for all we know. But that's wild. That is, I know it's a different country, but that is wild that you could, like, I don't know what the number cutoff is, but it ain't 110. 110, you're spending your ass in prison like forever. Like, I love when these give these people like 10 life sentences and you got to spend like 290 years in there. I mean, can't you just give them 100? Can we just like cut it off? Do we need 270? Unless you're just going to keep them there while they're rotting. Like, bro, you're staying here. We're not going to bury you. We're going to stick you in a, like Gacy. They should stick him in a damn crawl space. That's what they should have done with him. I always say the people that killed people should die the way they killed people. Absolutely. I'm an eye for an eye type guy. I'm sorry. That's just the way I am. When it comes to baseball, players police themselves. You hit somebody, someone hits you, you move on. You're done with it. I'm definitely an eye for an eye type guy. So if you're suffocating people, you get strangled. If you're ice picking people, then you get ice picked. Sorry. That's just the way it goes. And I wouldn't even, like, the first time I'd like ice pick you and then have a doctor come in and heal you and then do it again. Just so you kind of get the point. Like if you killed 40 people, you get the ice pick 40 times. And we'll suture you up 40 times and then do it again. Call me harsh. I think I look, balance the scales of justice, my friend. Balance the scales of justice. You dish it out, you're going to take it. Pow. That being said, I don't know if I'm going to go through with it. Although I guess I kind of just did. So what's the difference if I do it now? It's like I'm not going to do it while explaining to you why I'm not going to do it and how I was going to do it. And then I just did it. I kind of snuck that one in because now I can kind of say, wait a minute, I didn't even do it. I told you I wasn't going to do it. What are you talking about? Arrest me. So yeah, the idea of seating him kind of got to me. I got to be honest with you. I'm like, okay, how do you say Bundy is worse than Dahmer? How is anybody worse than Dahmer? I don't know. Casey killed young boys and stored them under his house in a crawl space. That seems pretty bad. That seems pretty bad. Like, oh yeah. What about Gary Ridgway? They killed like 40 people up in the Northwest. Like that seems pretty. Like they're all bad. They're all evil. They're all horrible. Whatever you want to call them. I mean, they're all sickos. Absolutely sick puppies. And I think the only reason to keep them alive is to learn what the hell. Like again, what the hell happened? What happened? How do we avoid this? But we haven't had that. We haven't, to my knowledge, unless they're way better at hiding, that we haven't really had serial killers recently. And again, I think it's our society is more cautious. CCTV, camera phones, DNA. It's harder. It's harder. Serial killer is kind of like the dinosaur. Everybody has their day. End of the day, you move aside, somebody else takes over. And then we just keep on keeping on is what we do. All right, we're gonna. Should we take some? Let's take some. If you guys want to chime in, I'll take a few questions before we get on out of here, and then I think tomorrow Jay Billis is going to join us, and then Tommy Lloyd on Wednesday. I'll be off Thursday and Friday, and I wanted to do shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now you're going to notice this probably throughout the year when we're doing the shows. We don't generally, it probably won't affect most of our shows, if any, except for the tournament, unless there's like a day baseball game on, playoffs. The reason I do this is I love watching sports. So when there's a big event on, I'm going to watch it, and then I'll talk about it later. I was the king of taping stuff when I worked at KMBR. Like everybody knew if it's a game, ask Tom if he recorded it before you ask about the game, because I like to watch it. I wanted to go home and watch it. I used to look at my schedule, my Warrior schedule. I still do. What's it look like during the playoffs? How many games, Warrior games, I have during the playoffs? Do I have one during the national championship game, college football? And I just like, okay, cool. Off that game, off that. Okay, we're good. We're good here. We're good here. We're good here. Because I just love watching, especially playoff time. So like Stanley Cup playoffs, basketball playoffs, obviously NFL's during the week, except for Monday night. They have the Monday night game early on. But I just love watching. So I'm not going to do the show when this is why I do the show, because I love watching. I'll talk about it after I watch, but I'm not going to come on while it's on just because we're on at a certain time. I want to watch these events. Then I love the tourney. I love the first day of the tourney. So I wanted to watch the tourney on Thursday. And plus, everybody that I wanted to have on could only come on before the tourney started. So they're going to come on. So we may get somebody else, possibly. I think next week we're going to have Jay Wright on, former head coach of the Villanova Wildcats. He said he'd join us, which is nice to have somebody on after the first weekend, too, because then you can break it down, look forward to the Sweet 16, and talk about the Final 16 as they head toward their march for greatness. So, all right, we're going to get on out of here. Before we do, if you want to chime in with a couple we have any comments, any questions, anything like that, we can certainly take them. Tom, you went to school with Anthony Smith, football player drafted by the Raiders in the 90s. He's considered the first pro athlete. Is he really? Are you serious? I'm gonna have to look that up. I did not know that. He went to U of A? I left in 88. So I don't know if he was there in 88. Let's look up Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, U of A serial killer. Let's see what we got. Okay. Anthony Smith, defensive end. Okay, drafted by the Raiders. He played college football in Arizona and Bama. Murders, trials, and convictions. It says he was two others were charged in 2008: murder, beaten, shot, Body dumped. Poppy Fields. Okay. I don't know if I'm getting like a yeah, but this doesn't look like a serial. Is it a serial killer? I'll have to do some more digging on that. Okay. I mean, give me a couple days. I did this was like 2 hours last night, and I'm like, I was like, okay, I need to detox for a second. I can't keep going back into the. I'm gonna finish. I watched first episode Invisible Monsters last night on Apple. I'm gonna watch second, or maybe it's on Hulu. Hulu. I'll probably watch second episode tonight. But yeah, it can get dark. It can get really dark, but I'm not the only one, right? There's tons of people that are fascinated with this stuff, and I don't know. For me, it's just the psychology of it. I try to listen to the people that are talking and find out what the hell happened, and when did it go so wrong? Even so wrong, right? It should be anyway. See, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Which serial killer would Tom most like to have a Coors Light with? Oh God. Golly. I mean, if you're making me choose one, oh boy. I gotta say, Bundy was a good looking dude. I mean, he was. I mean, look, you got to be honest with yourself. Bundy was a good looking dude. Gacy's out. Fucking clowns. Not a chance. Well, the obvious answer would be Zodiac, because then I'd know who he is. Right? We'd all know who he is. How much money I'd make off that? Yeah, I just had beers with the Zodiac killer. Oh, you're under arrest, dumbass. Ramirez, no. Pentagrams are out. Not huge on pentagrams, although he's probably an AC/DC fan. Maybe Ramirez. He might not be bad. Dennis Rader, no. Kemper was 6'9", by the way, the co-ed killer. That guy was massive. Oh, and if you didn't know this, Bono and Bianchi, the Hillside Stranglers, uncle and nephew. Uncle, although I think he was like an adopted. I don't think he was his biological nephew. Oh, like they say, the family that strangles together stays together. And they don't say that. No. I'll go Ramirez. Just because. I mean, he looks like he's into heavy metal. I mean, you put the pentagram on your thing, and he was immortalized in American Horror Story too. When they did, I think it was American Horror Story 1984 when they went to the camp. I think that guy was supposed to be. It was Richard Ramirez. So, looks like a heavy metal dude. So, I mean, if I have to choose, I'm not like thrilled with the prospects, but last has got to be Gacy though. I mean, I'm not having a beer with a clown. Just not going to happen. Yeah. Well, let's just go with that for the heavy metal aspect. All right, Tom, when was the last time you picked up a basketball? Oh my God. Like, well, I picked one up when I did a Warriors camp a few months ago, but I didn't shoot it. I didn't dribble it. I did not. I just held it. I think I held it. Did I? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it's been a year. Maybe it's been since last year's camp that I actually picked it up. But as far, it was funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I asked Tim Roy, who I called the Warrior games with, at halftime. You know, they had one of those free throw shooting contests, and I go, "What would you say your odds are of making a free throw if you just walked out there cold?" And he goes, "Pretty good, you know, muscle memory." And I go, "Really?" And I go, "God, if I shot one right now cold, I'd say 20%. I think if you give me one or two just to gauge it, then I could probably hit like 70, 80% of it, maybe more. But that first one, because I haven't shot in forever, it would be ugly. It'd be worse than like a golf swing after 5 months of not playing golf or 6 months of not playing golf. And mind you, the difference is you give me a couple of practice shots, I'd probably actually be able to start making some shots. You can give me 3 practice swings, my swing still looks like shit. It gets better, but it looks like it's awful. My swing's terrible. I hate looking at it. I go golf with my buddies. Steve Kerr did this a couple years ago when we were golfing. He like videos me without telling me, and I'm like, bro, don't do that. When I watch myself, I'm like, that's me. I'm a spaz. And that's all I could think about when I'm like I'm like getting ready to tee off, and I think of like that's what I look like, and I go, no wonder I can't hit the ball. Well, look at that, I can't hit. So I go, I hate being taped. Uh, was there any player that I faced that he hated to play against? Not this effing guy. I mean, look, there's a lot of those guys, but not that. I always relished the opportunity to play against those guys. I always said Buck Williams was one of the hardest players I ever had to play against. Trailblazer, net, just super, super strong, really good basketball player, just very professional too. Like he just didn't talk when he was out there. He just went about his business. But Buck, like he's one of those guys that didn't say anything. But if like a bar fight broke out, you'd want to be on Buck's team. Buck was just one of those dudes. You could just tell he was one of those dudes. Like, don't get him. You wind him up and get him going, then you have a hard time turning that dude off. Like a lot of guys talked, and a lot of guys had the bravado and stuff, but Buck Williams was one of those dudes that I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna steer clear of Buck. Just go play my game, and he was always nice to me. He was always respectful and just like but I always liked playing against Buck Williams. It wasn't easy. Contends get Hicks into the pens. We can have Birdsong and Roop in the rotation. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't really got into baseball quite yet. I did like Hickso before he went to the pen last year, and I don't know. I know Birdsong's a starter. For him last year, it was all about control, right? Locating the fastball and all that. Once he got the fastball over, then he was good to go. And he's got plenty of stuff, in my opinion. Roop, I just saw Roop out of the pen last year, so I don't know. Really, I haven't seen enough of Roop to know that he could be a starter. So right now, what do you got? You got Webb, you got Ray, you got Harrison, you got Birdsong, and then I guess they got the fifth spot for. I guess it could be Hicks. Guess could be Roop. Do they have one more I'm missing? I thought they might have had one more, but like I'm hoping Robbie Ray has a nice bounce back year this year, because if you have Webb and Ray, and then you have a great 1-2 punch. It's a dynamite 1-2 punch. So, but I'll be getting into more baseball and talking baseball as the season comes around. We'll talk about storylines in Major League Baseball, and I think we can all agree that we all hate the Dodgers. Actually, I hate the Dodgers, but it's fun to hate the Dodgers. It's fun to have a team to hate. And they don't really have anybody to hate like that. I love Mookie Betts. How great is Mookie Betts? How do you hate Freddie Freeman? How do you hate Ohtani? How do you hate Dave Roberts? There's like nobody on that team. You can hate Muncy, and I'm sure Giant fans do. But other than that, you look at that team and go, well, why would I hate that guy? Why would I hate Tommy Edman? I hate that guy. I'd love to have that guy on my team. What's the one thing I miss most about Ralph, and my favorite memories on the just everything. Be going to work. We didn't spend much time together off the work, out of work, but at work, it was just, we understood that we were in an entertainment industry and that we were entertaining people, and we just wanted to have fun, and we both love sports. But some of my favorite memories are when Bob Agnew used to come in and yell at him for running right through the clock when everyone's telling him to break. And I'm just sitting there going, we're like 3 minutes over. 3 minutes over. And Brian Smith is behind the glass doing the mic. He's going, break, break, break. And Brian would go throw his hat, and he'd get all pissed off. And, Ralph's talking, and then he'd finally break, and Agnew'd come in and yell at him. And then he'd yell at Brian Smith. He'd go, you're just a corporate shill. You're just a corporate shill. You don't care about content. And I'm just sitting there laughing. I'm just sitting there cracking up, because then it happened over and over and over again. And it was just so funny. But I used to love Agnew pacing outside the door before he came in. I was like, oh boy. Although I knew I wasn't getting yelled at. You're not getting yelled at because you're the golden boy. I'm not going to yell at you. But I love Ralph. Ralph. He one of a kind, baby. One of a kind, pure San Francisco, and loved working with that guy. Absolutely. Lou is in. Lou, you excited for the tourney? Lou, come here. Come over here. Come here. Come here. Okay, you're up. Okay. Can I still dunk a basketball? No, not a chance. Not close. Not a chance. Not a chance. That it? All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Like, subscribe, as they say. Try to limit it to once a show, if any. I'm certainly not going to do it more than that. You want to say goodbye to everybody? What? Psycho. Not even close. We're like not even close to dinner time or lunchtime. So, I'm going to get her. If you have this issue with dogs, like your dogs she eats twice a day and then they get hungry in between. Pumpkin. I just found this out. I should have known that pumpkin, well, not I should have known, but it's like filler. Fills them up. They love it. And there are no calories or hardly any calories in it. So I just buy her some pumpkin filling and just give her a couple big tablespoons of pumpkin. And that fills her up a little bit. So she gets from meal to meal. But God, she's just been, Joe says, Sweet Lou. It is Sweet Lou. Because all Lou's are Sweet Lou. Sweet Lou Whitaker, Sweet Lou Hudson. Got to be Sweet Lou. I don't know why Sweet and Lou go together like peanut butter and jelly, like lamb and mint jelly. By the way, I got to go. But does anybody use mint jelly for anything other than lamb? Anything? Has anybody ever said, "Give me a peanut butter and mint jelly sandwich"? No. Nobody's had a peanut butter sandwich with mint jelly. And if you are, you know what I suggest? You're going to be on this list, is what you're going to be on. If you have a peanut butter and mint jelly sandwich, you're going to be on this list at some point. Right below David Berkowitz, you'll be on the list. So, yeah. I always wondered that. That's one of life's great mysteries. What people use mint jelly for other than lamb. And the people that first had lamb, how did they know to put mint jelly on it? Is it like the Reese's commercial where the guy trips, like he has a rack of lamb and he trips and falls into mint jelly? Oh, hey, this is really good. Try this. Oh my God. I can't believe how lucky were you fell into the mint jelly. If you only eat it with mint jelly, how do you even fucking know to make mint jelly? Like if you don't use it on anything else. Anything else? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I've never heard of mint jelly go with like anything. You can have some toast. You want some mint jelly with that? No, I don't want fucking mint jelly with that because nobody eats mint jelly on their toast or their bagel or their muffin because nobody but psychos uses mint jelly other than lamb. Period. You just don't. Go find something that you use mint jelly with other than lamb. I don't eat lamb. I don't eat lamb. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but I'm very hypocritical when it comes to meat. I eat meat. I don't have guns or don't hunt or anything like that. But cow's one thing. I'd rather lion than a lamb. They just seem like they're too cute. Like, can't do the lamb. Fish, fish is easy. But mint jelly, find something. Guy says lamb's hella good. I bet it is. I'm sure it is. I just don't partake. All right. I don't partake. All right. We'll be back at you tomorrow. Jay Billa's going to join us tomorrow. Wednesday, Tommy Lloyd. And then I'll do the brackets on Wednesday. We'll run them down. And if you guys want to give me some picks, I could always use some picks. I'm thinking out of like from a betting standpoint, spread standpoint, the only game I'm really looking at, let me find it here, that intrigues me is, where is it? I can't find it. Like I said, I'm not that dialed in. But I might take Troy against Kentucky, getting a big spot. I may go with Troy against Kentucky. I think they're getting like 10, 11, something like that. So I may take the Trojans, but don't quote me on that. All right, we'll be back. Say goodbye, Lou. Say goodbye, Lou. That way. Okay. No kisses. Not to the mouth. Yeah, say goodbye. All right. See you guys tomorrow.